What is up? Hey, man. What is good, y'all? Another day, another dollar, y'all. That's 10 cents for the dominant, not the dominant society, but the native black society. We get 10 cents to every dollar. You know, I gotta say, did Jesus come back today? Damn, I know y'all was waiting for him. God damn. Hey, what is going on? Man, a lot of things been going on. I'm about to get into it real quick. Turn this clown ass music ass down and shit. Man, what is going on? I'm your boy Warren G, and a place to be. Been clown and sucker free since, y'all know, 2003. I know a lot of people waiting on Jesus in his timely return. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior? Man, the hooping and hollering and speaking in tongues and all that shit. I tell you that right now. Now that stuff, I don't diss at anything, but that's not gonna help you combat racism and white supremacy and all the wonderful, ill-advised things that the dominant society has done to lock and box you out of wealth. So that's what we gotta be worried about. Man. That's why I titled it Surviving the Dominant Society. They doing all these surviving R. Kelly and all this other shit. Surviving the dominant society, which means we have survived redlining, Jim Crow, gentrification, Willie Lynch, segregation, social integration, which has hurt us. All these wonderful things that have hurt Native blacks. And what do they want to give us? They want to give us surviving R. Kelly, some things that has taken place 20 years ago. That's what, and then they did a part 2. Then you got Oprah talking about doing the whole Michael Jackson documentary with all this falsified information and this false narrative that you putting out about Michael Jackson. That's why I said it on Twitter, man. I've been having some great discussions on Twitter because a lot of people, man, it's so funny when you hit them with facts and figures and things that go on. I'm talking about coons too. They want to start name calling and calling you stupid and all this other shit. I be laughing at that shit now. Now the old one, I be like, man, you got me, you know. But nah, I don't even need to do that because when you hit them with facts and knowledge, they can't handle it. And the thing that I don't like about it is, I saw on Twitter, I don't know if it was a melanated brother or not, a black person or not, but he was on there talking about, well, Michael Jackson, he did it to himself and all this other shit. I said, wait, what the hell you mean he did it to himself? First of all, the dominant society has never liked Michael Jackson once he learned the social game rules that they're playing. Once he learned those rules and started buying up everybody's catalog and masters and stuff and things like that, that's when Michael Jackson became a threat because he no longer needed the dominant society to function. See, once you no longer need them, then that's when it becomes a problem. Then that's when it's like, oh, he's a threat and all this other stuff, and that's why he started talking about all those wonderful people, part of the Jewish community that band together like Voltron, and they attack Native blacks because they don't like that we are contrarian to what they think, how they view, and everything. So let's just put a pedophile case on them, and then let's randomly get all these kids that have been around Michael Jackson in their whole life that he ain't never touched, and let's just go get them. And then we know they need money, so let's just go get them. Man, come on, man. These are the things that's plaguing our community. The coons is what's plaguing our community. So, you know, when you gotta listen to that. Look, when I be on Twitter, I was listening to this one dude. He was like trying to like, what does the Hidden Colors film have to do with reparations and all that? I'm like, well, then you must have not been watching the damn Hidden Colors videos then. Because if you were watching the Hidden Colors videos, you would know that he had Dr. Claude Anderson in there, and Dr. Claude Anderson clearly breaks down the economic plan for Native blacks to be empowered so we can take the political system by storm. But we have to have an economic base. But I think more people were jealous of Dr. Claude Anderson because he was on the Breakfast Club and they wasn't on the Breakfast Club. It's like, goddamn, everybody want to be the star. Everybody want to be, you know, and then you go attack. That man is 85 years old. Done wrote 5 books. I got 3 of them. And out of the 3 books, I'm convinced. He got me then. If he's a strategic social engineering person, then he got my ass because I'm convinced by the data that he wrote. Now, I'm not taking away from nobody else's data. I'm not saying nobody else is wrong or right. I'm just saying when you got people that's going to attack a man that's 85 years old, like Dr. Claude Anderson or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, people that are pillars of our community that has put in major work for Native black people, and then you want to shit on them and talk crazy about them? Nah, man, I can't ride with that. Then you got a lot of people turning a movement into voting down a ballot. I ain't with none of that shit either. Vote for what? What are you voting for? Oh, well, FBA, you ain't getting no tangibles. And I just be like, wait, what do you, that's the whole basis of the term, tangibles. So quid pro quo. You can't just go voting for people that ain't giving you nothing. That's the problem. A lot of people don't understand how politics work. It works with money. That's what it works with. You ain't got no money, it ain't gonna work. That's why the Chinamen don't be in the fucking lines voting for the president. Do you ever see the Chinamen and the Korean men arguing about who they gonna vote for? You never see that. You don't see that because they put their money up. They put their money up, they get the properties that they want, they sell to melanated people and everybody else, and they go on and they take their money back to their community and they live how they want to live. And that's the problem. You got people that'll take a movement, no diss, but you got two individuals. I ain't gonna say their names, they know who they are. One lady, one man. It's like, man, y'all taking the movement and doing something else with it. To me personally, I can't ride with that, and I don't co-sign that shit. Cause then it's funny how they send their minions on Twitter to attack people. I ain't got a lot of followers because I don't care. I don't care about that shit because followers don't pay me, and I ain't interested in that shit no way because I think it's all the Matrix. Half these people you don't even know. Matter of fact, I'll say 90% of the people that's following you don't even know these people. So when you see the ADOS people, which I'm a descendant of a slave too, but when you see them start attacking people, Talib Kweli, they attacking Boyce Watkins, they attacking Tariq, they attacking all these people, and then you start reading, you gotta really listen to a person, because once I start listening to them, I just be like, well, but what are y'all saying though? Because we can talk about the data all day, and I'm not talking about just the ADOS data. We can talk about how we're locked and boxed out. Okay, but now let's talk about a plan moving forward. What are we gonna do? That's the shit that I'm talking about. Moving forward, what do we plan on doing? That's the shit that I'd be concerned about. And a lot of times when you're dealing with people, they don't want to talk about moving forward. They just want to talk about how we stuck and locked and boxed out. We are stuck and locked and boxed out. But what you gonna do about it? The first thing you gotta do is start, to me, supporting black businesses and dealing with your subconscious on what you're gonna do to make your community better and how you gonna do it. You know, you see people hustling, don't try to get the discount, pay full price for the shit. And if you don't get your shit, don't talk crazy about the people, just bear with them and see what the problem is. Man, I've dealt with black businesses that ain't, gave me my product, and I just chalk it up like, man, I ain't tripping. Maybe they had a problem or there must have been operator error, whatever, man. It ain't no big deal to me. That's not gonna stop me from supporting blackandnoble.com or Freedom Paper Company. You know what I'm saying? Or the Black Dollar store and buy me some shoes, which I gotta go buy me some shoes off that website. Now, don't stop me from buying that shit, because I don't care. But I think people, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why I just kind of like, man, I think it's more about us educating each other and each one teaching one. That's why I'm talking about Twitter, because the reason why I'm saying surviving the dominant society is because on Twitter, every time you speak something that is oppositional to a movement like the ADOS movement or the dominant societies movement, the problems that I have with movements like that, per se, that type of situation, that scenario is the people inside of that movement is doing too much catering and pandering to the Democratic Party. Like, that's what I don't like. And they don't do nothing for melanated people. So that's why I don't understand why that's why I don't get into that. No, I'm trying to vote for who has got the best economic plan for Native black people. I'm not trying to vote for no Democrats just because, first of all, I'm not registered as no Democrat or no Republican. Not that way. Yeah, was I a clown that voted for Barack Obama? Hell yeah. I'm not gonna sit up here in front. Oh, Obama 08. Obama gonna do something by 2012. I'm having the same thing. I'm like, damn, okay, well, he didn't do nothing the first 4 years. Well, what is he gonna do for us? Like, when is he gonna start talking about us? And then when he didn't say nothing, at first I was like, okay, cool. It's 2012. When 2013 went by, I was like, all right. Then 2014, okay. 2015 went by, I was like, okay, he ain't planning on saying shit about us. Man, fuck this nigga. But by then, I had already come into the knowledge of Black Labor, White Wealth, Poweronomics, the ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I tell anybody, when I be on Twitter, motherfuckers get to talking crazy to me, this is the first thing I tell them. You need to go get Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. Go get that book. If y'all ain't know, that's why I always got the book over here. I probably haven't got it over there. I probably put it back on my bookshelf. And these are books I actually read, by the way. Ain't no clown that shit I'm just making up. But I'm just saying, they start calling names. Oh, this person's dumb, or, one person had the nerve to tell me, oh, the Irish, they built this country. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah, right. The Irish built this country? No. Let me just give you this disclaimer, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If you are not a native Black or a foundational Black American, you are not responsible for building this country, period. And what I mean by that is this. Your people did not build this country. That's a fact. And your people are not responsible for the wealth that has been accumulated in this country because of the free labor for the last 400 some years. And people don't like that. And one person on Twitter had the nerve to tell me, oh, well, let it go already. Yeah, it's easy to say let it go. Your people didn't build this country, and you're over here because of Black labor, free Black labor. So that goes for Latinos. That goes for every other ethnic group that are not native and indigenous to this landmass. You did not build this country, which means you are a direct beneficiary of free Black labor. And I don't care what you say. And you can get mad if prove me wrong. Go get me some books that say that native Blacks did not build this country. And then we're gonna go and comb through them, and I'll read that book and I'll point out all the things that don't suggest that lead up to. Because I'll tell you this, it said we built the country. Now, goddamn, now you don't tell me I'm tripping. If that racist white man said, well, Black people did build the country, so we got to give them props for that, then don't tell me that we don't know what we're talking about. Don't tell me that what we're saying is crazy. I just like Twitter because I like to ruffle feathers, and I like to rattle people's cages. Like somebody was going at Talib Kweli. Shout out to Talib Kweli. I've been on Talib Kweli since the 90s. And I told Talib, I was like, Talib, don't even answer that question. You Black people can't be racist. And then everybody starts jumping in my mentions in my timeline. Oh, you sound stupid, you sound ignorant. How is that true? So if you call a chink, that's not racist, and that's like calling a Black person N-word. I said calling a Black person, a native Black, the N-word is depending on who's using it, who's saying it. Is it somebody from the dominant society? Because they actually have power. You know why they have power? And then I had to break it down to them in Dr. Claude Anderson terms. Racism is the competition of resources, so you can use and gain advantage over another group and oppress other groups and races. And since Black people, native Blacks, don't own any land, resources, boats, planes, ships, cakes, pies, none of that shit, since we don't own any of that, how can we then be racist? Because that's what racism is all about, the competition of resources. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and all them other all those other white supremacists, they came to the Americas for land and resources. They didn't come here for happiness. They came here for the pursuit of property, land and wealth and resources, and acres of land, which none of our native Blacks have gotten back in return for all the free labor that they got. So once you start giving them the facts, they don't know what to do. And then I always cite a book. That's why you need to go read Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. Maybe you need to go read the ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Why don't you go read The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics by Neely Fuller Jr. Go read those books. Because I had to tell somebody else, well, if you want to go further, the dominant society, aka white people, they dominate 9 areas of activity: labor, law, sex, religion, war, counter-war, politics, economics, and and education. And then no response. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, you this. See, once you start spouting it out, they try to pick it out, but most of the people, to me, that are troll, they're just dumb. They get their information off the news. They're not reading these books. They don't care what's going on. That's the problem. Native blacks, we got to start educating ourselves. That's why I'm gonna one brother from ADOS who's trying to argue me down about I'm a student of Dr. Claude Anderson. Well, if you are a student of Dr. Claude Anderson, then why are your leaders of the ADOS movement talking shit about Dr. Claude Anderson and literally attacking him like he's some nigga off the street? No, those to me are people that are trying to gain favor over others and use that movement, as a tool, and wield that power in such a way where you like, damn, my nigga, you gonna do that? That's what you want? Like, that's what we finna do? I remember one of the leaders that was attacking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which he always getting attacked. I was watching that on CNN today, how they was attacking him. The Jewish community was like, and Louis Farrakhan, he said all these things about the Jewish community. Man, please. The only thing that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said about the Jewish community is they had their hand in slavery too. That's why they wrote the book, The Secret Relationship Between Jews and Blacks. That's all he said. And if you read the actual book, the quotes are from white Jewish scholars, not black, but white. But I think people, you have to create an enemy, because that's the only way you could sway people. Okay, well, he's the enemy, so let's create this perception that he's the enemy and we're the good guys. But the media is really the enemy, because they give out misinformation and falsified narratives all the time. Just like when Don Lemon was in St. Louis and he was arguing with Talib Kweli. And Talib had to really break him down and be like, bro, you didn't even ask me my name. That's why I'm like, when I said black people can't be racist, they talking about the N-word and all that. And I said, well, calling me the N-word, that's just name calling. I'm talking about racism. And then when you get to the crux of racism, it's about land and resources and power. Black people have no power. If it was publicly traded, deplete the stock, like what the dominant society did to Henry Ford when he started talking shit about the Jews. That's why I have a book called The International Jew. Am I saying all Jews are bad? No, all Jews are not bad. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this: you got to keep it in context, because what people like to do is they like to take your words in the conversation and do what is called an alligator roll. And what alligators do is when they get you and they grab onto you, they start rolling in the water so they can suffocate you and break your bones and shit. You all discombobulated. And that's what the dominant society, as well as coons, do on social media. And they fight and they talk about the data, all this bullshit. And I'm like, man, y'all niggas need to miss me with all that. Let's talk about the education. What's going on, Tommy? I see you. I know, I seen them. Some of those books I already got. One of those books I think I already got. But the other one, I think I'm just trying to remember. I got to check my email. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's funny. I'm watching this shit and I'm like, man, this shit is crazy, man. These motherfuckers, I think what happens, this is my personal opinion, because it's all about perspectives. I think my personal opinion about a lot of black people, we just seek and long for attention, and it's about the message. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes it's about the messenger. Excuse me, but it's about the message. And I think a lot of times we take what is called the message and we dissect it because there's things that we don't like about it. So you know what I'm saying? And there's gonna be a lot of things that you don't like about what somebody's saying, what they're not saying. You know, there's a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean you attack them with vengeance in your heart. And you know, because to me it looked like when Dr. Claude Anderson was on the Breakfast Club, people just used that to talk shit and kind of hate. And I don't like that shit. That's why when the brother, I forgot what his name is. He on Twitter, I think his name is Marlon or something. He was tweeting me back and forth. And when he told me he was a student of Dr. Claude Anderson, I was like, well, if you a student, then why is you allowing the people that run your shit to publicly ridicule him and attack him like that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Without somebody defending them. That's why it's like a lot of people, I think they're just using this. And a lot of the talking points from certain movements and groups cater to the dominant society's agenda of the Democratic Party. And then when you say, hey, man, I want quid pro quo, like Dr. Claude Anderson say, something for something. So if I give you my vote, you better give me X, Y, and Z. Now, when you start asking and holding these politicians, as the brother tried to tell me, accountable, then it's benign neglect. That's why Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, all of those people that was running, not a single person has given us a black agenda that is concrete and is beneficial for native blacks for all the free labor that they have received the last 400 years. Where is that agenda at? See, we don't get that. You know what we get? We get, this person is taking the money and man, look, we can talk about that later. I'm talking about them, and I'm talking about them wanting native blacks to vote, but they're not giving us anything. And then the brother tried to tell me about the Hispanic community at the question. First of all, Hispanic is not a race. So let's roll that over to, you mean the Latino community. And I had to tell him, well, in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Latinos are booming. The Chinamen are booming. The Korean men are booming. That's a fact. They are booming. But what is not booming is the native blacks. And a lot of people, I think what happens is a lot of people, they get so frustrated and they get so irritated because I think they feel like it's hopeless. Like, what? Why stand and fight her? We might as well just go along to get along. Because a lot of those people are cipher. And a lot of those people, what do they want to take? Was it the red pill to go back to sleep and wake up like nothing ever happened? Or was it the blue pill? Maybe it was the red pill. It was one of those pills. I can't remember, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the blue pill? Either the blue pill or the red pill. I think, yeah, they want to take the blue pill and go to bed. One of those pills make a nigga go to bed like NyQuil. And one of those pills make you wake up and show you how good, how long, how far the rabbit hole goes. And that's the problem. We get on these corporate plantations and we get, look, let me give you advice. All right, then Tommy, I'll holler at you. This is advice I give to any native black, any native melanated person. When a dominant society person is trying to bait you into a race discussion, the first thing you should say is, if you're at the corporate plantations, I don't like to discuss that at work. Everybody has their own view. And if they want to keep prying, say, well, I don't really like to debate with people or argue with people unless they've read some books. So what books have you read? And then ask them, like, well, what books have you read to give you those theories? Oh, I don't have to read no books to have no theories. Well, how did you do your research? Then they're going to be like, oh, well, I watched the news and oh, well, then, of course. I don't listen to the media when it comes to researching, you know, and gaining knowledge. You got to do some reading. And the first thing you should tell them is, well, maybe you should go read Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. And that can give you all the perspective that you need. And then that's when they're going to be like, oh, I never heard of that book. Okay. And they're not going to go read it. And then they'll probably leave you alone and then go about their business. Or you don't even have to tell them that. Just say, well, I don't discuss that at work. And I'm just more of a reader and a researcher. And that's it. So if I don't like to get into discussions with people and debates with people that haven't really picked up books and read and did the research for themselves. And they're just going off what they've been told. So, because I've done that before. It's a lot of prominent black communities in Maryland. Oh, I bet you it is. The DMV, of course it's going to be. That's where it all started. Of course it's going to be like that in the DMV. A lot of melanated brothers and sisters in the DMV. There's a lot of people for the melanated empowerment in the DMV. I'm pretty sure it's people a part of the dominant society that want to see native blacks win. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it is. Because let me tell you something. Man, white people know what racism is. I just get a kick out of throwing books at their head because I think it's funny. But they know what it is, so don't get upset. Don't get angry. Don't let them race bait you and get you all entangled up in their emotions and do an alligator roll and take you under the water and twist you around and have you all discombobulated. See, I don't let them do that. I just stick to the point. When a person said, well, what's your agenda on Twitter? You know what I told them? I said, my agenda is to replace the system of racism and white supremacy and to establish a system of justice. You know what I got crickets. That's what I got. No replies, no nothing. Then after that, I got name calling. I'm dumb. Oh, he's an idiot. Of course. See, but that's what is to be expected when you start kind of reading books a little bit. Once you start reading, you kind of get it like, oh yeah. And that's, you know what I called him? I just said, well, you know, you're a commoner. So you don't understand what's going on. So it's all good. I don't even understand what's going on. That's why this is the No I Don't Know podcast, because I don't really know everything. I never claimed to know anything. I'm just giving you my perspective on the books that I have read and how I view the United States of what we call America Incorporated. That's all. That's why it's so funny to watch coons go to bat for them. And black people are racist too because I'm black and I'm racist. No, you are what is called a sandball. You are a coon. But you can't group all of us to be in alignment with you saying that all black people. First of all, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say it again. Black people cannot be racist. Period. No, see, you guys are confusing name calling with racism, white supremacy. Racism, white supremacy is an institution. It's a system. It's a team of players. It isn't just one person. People think that is, racism, white supremacy is Donald Trump. No, racism, white supremacy, and Donald Trump is a fraction of what it is. It's a system. That's what it is. It's a team sport. That's what it is. And what happens is right now the game rules are in the hands of the dominant society, which is classified as white. That's a fact. Whether they want to get mad or not, I don't care who it offends. I don't care about offending people. I'm just telling you what I claim to be true and what is a part of my belief system, that it's a team sport. It's an institution. And I think a lot of coons and native black people, they confuse it. They think racism is just calling names. No, racism is different. And calling names, let's just say a person call you a nigger, like, oh, you nigger. If they're part of the dominant society, they have power, so they can oppress you. You can call them all you want to call them, but you cannot oppress them. You can oppress a person calling them a name, but you can take away their corporate plantation job. You could take away their money. You could take away their stock. You could do, there's things within racism, white supremacy in that institution that they can take. What they thought they was going to do with me on Twitter is the N-word. And I was like, oh, well, calling a black person the N-word, that's just calling somebody a name. And it depends on who's using that slur and who's calling you that name. That's what it means. If they have no power, no land, no wealth, no resources, they can't oppress anyone. I'm talking about the dominant society controlling the banks, controlling the corporations, controlling the mass land and resources that native blacks need to live. It's all being controlled. That's why the top Fortune 500 companies are not ran by a single native black. Period. Why is that? That's why it's very, very difficult a lot of times to watch a lot of these coons and sambos on Twitter argue a movement when the movement is making it about the dominant society. How you gonna tell somebody to vote down the ballot? Man, get the fuck out of here. Vote down the ballot for what? But that's just my perspective. You ain't gotta agree with me. I appreciate the data and all the information, that's fine. But telling somebody to vote down the ballot, no. What you should be telling people, hey, don't vote period until black people get what they need to have. Just like Dr. Claude Anderson talked about in the Breakfast Club and how we had our own buses, but no, we want to go sit on the front of the dominant society buses. We don't even want to placate to the people that we already have buses. That's why when the people get to talking that crazy shit, I say the first terrorist act in the United States of America was the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings. That was the first terrorist act committed on the United States of America's soil. And that was against native blacks. Right. But we don't want to read. We don't want to do research. We don't want to listen to any of our elders. We want to tear them down. We want to talk crazy about them because we know that'll get us likes and views. And man, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Like I said, I got a video doing some bullshit. Anybody that's watching this page, all you got to do is scroll down to the bottom, the last video, Black People House Party. That shit got like 80, 90,000 views. I don't care about that shit because I don't care. Because it doesn't mean anything to me because that's what they want. YouTube, to me, in my personal opinion, and the dominant society, it's all a system. They're not going to create an algorithm for people that's telling the real. And if you are telling the real, you have to say it in such a nice way, and it has to be encoded and hidden for you to get likes and views, and you know what I mean? Other than that, if you telling it raw and uncut, man, they don't want to hear that shit. They'll deprogram your shit. They'll cut off your algorithm. They'll say the stream is wrong. You can have the best internet in the world, which I have, in Las Vegas, Nevada, and then motherfucker had a nerve on YouTube to tell me, oh, the streaming service is long. And then the next time I do a podcast and I'm goofing and bullshitting, then I got, the service is great on their end, not on my end. So, man, I don't want to hear that. I know what the hell the dominant society is capable of. You better go read that book, The Burglary. You better go read this book called The Matrix of Power by Jordan Maxwell, how he talks about all religions and everything comes from Africa. And when I mean Africa, I mean black people. That's this white man talks about it in this book. Maybe it'll resonate with people better. You know what I mean? When I listen to people from that movement, shout out to, you know, everybody else, but from that movement that talk about Dr. Claude Anderson, don't give us no plan and all this other stuff. Oh, so he doesn't give you a plan, huh? That's why there's a book called Powernomics, since he doesn't give you a plan. Go read that book. And what is it? The National Plan to Empower Black America. Go read that book. But we talking about Dr. Claude Anderson didn't have no plan and it's outdated and all this other shit. I don't like that shit, man. That's just me personal. I don't like that, and I think we feel more time hating. We spend more time hating on each other and trying to gain like some type of fame, and then the same brother from the ADOS movement trying to tell me, oh, well, you gotta have political power. No, you gotta have economic power, bro. You gotta have an economic base before you do anything else. You ain't got no money, you can't do nothing. You ain't got no money, you can't eat. What are you talking about? That's like a person that ain't got no job and he's like, man, I need a job. You're like, oh man, see, really, you don't need no job, man. What you need is you just gotta have the faith. But nigga, if I don't have no job, I can't pay bills, I can't eat. Oh, don't trip off that. Just get the faith first. Then once you get the faith first, my nigga, then you get, man, come on, bro. Man, I don't wanna hear that shit. Those are them same people that be on some, have you embraced Jesus Christ as your personal savior? I mean, yeah, I have. Or as soon as you be like, nah, man, I don't go to church. Ooh, God gonna get you, you going to hell. It's like, well, why you gotta come get me? Why you just can't say, okay, well, I'll keep continuing to pray for you. But we don't do that. We persecute motherfuckers. And we treat them and cast them out like we somehow, some way are better than them. Because we got the King James Bible and we want to be a Bible thumper and walk around and okay, that's fine. You can do that, to each his own. But man, that is not combating and fighting and replacing the system of white supremacy and establishing a system of justice. And not just that bogus bullshit. You're not empowering Native Black people to come together, because the first thing that will throw the youth off, in my personal perspective, is when you start Bible thumping. Young people don't want to hear that shit. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? I watch the scenes, you know, I see a lot of things. I'm like, man, this shit is crazy, man. A lot of this shit is asked, oh, well, well, fuck it. I just got to go with something. Okay, if that's what you want to think. But I'm not voting down no ballot. One little vote count, that's bullshit. The system of white supremacy and racism is an institution. So it's a team sport. That's the problem. It's a team sport. That's why when you look at basketball, all those basketball players, LeBron James got 140 million. Kawhi Leonard got 140 million. How much do you think Jeannie Buss got when she signed LeBron James? How much money do you think she's making? How much money do you think the Caucasian Jewish owner that took over for Donald Sterling is making with the Clippers? Because it's a team sport and some little bit of say so. But your money's never gonna have any power, because once you're starting to uplift and create an economic base for Native Black people, that's when you become a threat. That's why I was looking at somebody talking about, oh, and I'm an MLK fan. I guess he was a dominant society person. I said, y'all always quoting this MLK bullshit when it's convenient for y'all. But nobody wants to talk about how he was like, we need the money. We need land, resources, and we need economic power, and we're coming for the money. And then they shot him and killed him. Nobody talks about that, not even his own family, because they probably need to do their bidding and keep up their status quo with the dominant society. Whatever, man. To each his own. I'm just saying, it's so funny how people always want to use MLK. Okay, if everybody feel that way, part of the dominant society, and everybody love MLK so much, then why the fuck they don't celebrate that shit in Arizona? Oh, and John McCain was the main motherfucker that was like, no, we vetoing that shit. We're not celebrating that shit in Arizona, and fuck MLK, basically. But I don't see nobody talking about that shit. Let me tell you something, man. Building power within the native black community is very, very difficult, because you got to deal with the coons, you got to deal with the Sambos, you got to deal with people that's, just coming around, for entertainment, or you know what I mean? That's why I don't, hey man, explain to me. Hey man, go read the book. Hey man, you think I can't give you the book, but I can tell you where to go get it. Cause the first thing I'm gonna tell a nigga is, if you buying a whole bunch of weed and beer and fucking hoes and shit, I don't want to hear shit about you ain't got no money to buy no book. I don't want to hear shit about you can't support a black business. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear shit about you don't know what's going on or all this other shit. That's why it's so funny when you deal with people that is misinformed and they get all their information from the media, the news media or social media, like all the information. They don't go do none of the research. Those type of people, you gotta really watch them, because they become a provocateur. They become agent provocateurs. And then what they do is go amongst the people and they pander to both sides to get both sides arguing. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I sit and I watch. Like I watch when the sister, a part of that movement was talking shit about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I wasn't feeling that shit, because like I said before, I've had discussions in my own home with Elijah Muhammad did. John F. Kennedy fucked 1,000 bitches when he was in the White House. But every time you go in a Caucasian house, what picture do you see? John F. Kennedy. What picture do you see people praising from Boston? John F. fucking Kennedy. And I'm not mad at them for that. That's their savior, that's their hero. That's who you're supposed to praise. But why is it when it comes to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the niggas be acting like they be fronting? Oh man, well he had a bunch of girls, and I don't give a fuck. What the fuck does that got to do with him bringing us Malcolm X? What the hell does that got to do with him empowering native black people and giving us the 5%ers and giving us all these people that he brought to us? Like, so that erases all the good work that he's done? Man, come on, bro. And when I would tell my mom that, I'm like, nah, ma, if it wasn't for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we wouldn't have Farrakhan. We wouldn't have Malcolm X. Yeah, you right. You right about that shit. Thank you. We wouldn't have how to eat to live. We wouldn't know how bogus this food is that they giving us. If it wasn't for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you dummies, we wouldn't have Dr. Sebi. That's why when a person be like, I remember a girl was like, oh, you follow Dr. Sebi? I follow his principles too. I said, oh, well, then you're following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's principles. She was like, you mean the black Muslim? Yeah. What do you mean? I said, why don't you Google Dr. Sebi and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? You should have saw the look on that bitch's face. That shit had me rolling. Go on YouTube. The first thing he gonna say is, I thank God for the honorable Elijah Muhammad. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know half this stuff. Come on, man. So you gotta give credit where credit is due. And you ain't gotta be a defender of the Nation of Islam to give credit where the credit is due. Construct of the Nation of Islam and what they believe in and empowering them, the native black community and us building this country. And we are the black God. We are the gods of this earth. That's what you should be believing in. At least believe in that. Ah, damn. But I think a lot of people get upset because that talk gets scary. Oh, I can't talk like that. And it's not meant for a person to talk like that at the corporate plantation. That's not your platform. See, we take, all right, first of all, I've told you a million times, and I'll say it again, we get too goddamn emotional when we around the dominant society. See, I don't get emotional. See, I become very introverted when I'm around the dominant society in the context of the corporate plantation, because that's what they want to watch. They want you to get mad and upset and, man, nope, closed book. I'm here to do a job and going about my way. I'm not here to tell you my personal business. If you go get this book, if you go get The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics by Neely Fuller Jr., he clearly tells you in here, when you get on the dominant society, their turf, the court plantation don't discuss any of your personal business. Period. He talks about racial showcasing confusion. You know what I mean? He talks about a lot of that stuff. They give one nigga the nigga trinket and tell you, well, they want all the black people to model his behavior. Why do you think, got Obama? So the dominant society will bring up Obama. That's one black person who is not even a native black person, but one black person out of what, 40-something white people? And you want me to be happy? That's like a person giving you one meal a week and they're eating 7 days a week. How would you like it if you ate 1 day a week and they ate 7 days a week and then told you, well, I gave you that 1 day? You're going to be like, man, what? I'm starving over here, man. And you living like a fat cat. That's why I always tell people, man, stop cooning, stop samboing, stop using the Democratic talking points, man. Fuck Joe Biden, all them. Look, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, what's the other lady? Elizabeth Warren, that fake, phony fraud, all of them, they can care less about the native black community. They have no plans to empower us. They don't care. They just want your vote. They want to secure your vote. They don't care about the issues that come abroad. Elizabeth Warren, she was lying about being a Native American. Then she was a Republican, and then you switched like Donald Trump. So you definitely can't say shit about Donald Trump. You did the same thing. Oh, but you went to the Democratic side because you knew you was going to get more traction on our side, being a woman and women's liberation and all this other shit. It's so funny how melanated sisters, I try to tell them, look, like I used to tell my mom and my sisters, fuck that women's rights shit, because that women's rights is white women's rights, not black. They don't give a flying fuck about y'all. They just need y'all to make the cup, the glass full. That's what they want. They don't care about y'all issues, because when Eric Gardner gets killed, when Philando Castile gets shot on Facebook Live, and his daughter could have got killed, when Oscar Grant gets killed, where was the women's liberation at then? Where was the LGBTQ LMNOP XYZ community at then? But it's so funny how we got to cater to them now, and everybody's apologizing to them for what? Man, get the fuck out of here. That's the problem, because a lot of times we don't want to mess up our money, and I get that. Don't mess up your bag. Don't mess up your money. But we got to have a code of conduct. Sometimes it's good to be like, nah, I'm just ain't finna say nothing. I ain't finna make no comment on that. But what about the LBGT? I'm just making no comment on it. Me, I'll tell you what my comment is about them. It's so funny how they want us to pander and cater to their shit, but when we see melanated native blacks getting shot and killed and massacred in the goddamn street, where are they at? No, but they want to dance and prance like they got ants in their goddamn pants and the rainbow and all this other bullshit. But when it comes to native blacks getting what is owed to us, they just want to snap their fingers and all this other bullshit and act moist and shit. Man, I ain't with all that, man. Come on, man. Man, we need land and resources. We need wealth. Come on, man. What trips me out the most is how the dominant society will convince native blacks that we lazy. And then have Latinos and everybody else looking down on us and telling their daughters don't date black men and all this other shit. And I'd be like, no, black men should be told don't date them. They're not worthy of being in our bloodline. That's what we should be told. That's why I always tell a person, when a person be like, oh, my dad said I can't date you. Oh, he doesn't want you dating a person whose family lineage built this country? Wow, that's crazy. I bet you that'll shut their ass up. Fuck out of here. That's why I always tell people, look, man, go get the knowledge for yourself. Don't wait on our thought leaders to give you every little thing. Take what they say, keep it in context, and go do the research for yourself. Any thought leader, they're going to give you books to read. They're not just going to be spouting out the whole fucking time. They're going to give you books. I don't care if it's the same books. They're going to give them to you. And they're going to tell you to read them. And they ain't going to be no fucking hater. And they're going to call out the fuckery in the destruction of the native black society. Because I see a lot of Sambos moving and grooving within the matrix, and I call the matrix social media and, pandering to the Democratic Party and all that, and I don't like that. And it's so funny how when you start calling out Democratic people in the Democratic bullshit, they want to name call and deflect and use white fragility and use other talking points and do the alligator rolls, what I call it, and take you on 1,000 points. But it has nothing to do with land, wealth, and resources that are owed to black people. That's why when people kept telling me on Twitter, oh, well, the Irish built the country and all this stuff, I was like, no. Every group, including immigrants that come to the United States of America Incorporated, are living off the backs of free black native labor. Period. End of discussion. You can slice it, you can dice it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can try to alligator roll me and take me on this wild goose chase and all this other shit and throw darts and call names and all that. It does not take back the fact that Native blacks built this fucking country, and everybody else comes here with this idea of Native blacks, niggas are akatas and katempekas and I do not mess with these lazy niggas and all that other shit, as my mom used to say, and as niggas used to tell me the same shit, right? But I've also had Africans from Africa, from Ghana, and from everywhere be like, no, I love my niggas here in the United States. I do not like people come from my country and talk shit about niggas. No, because I am a nigga, period. And those are people that I deal with. I don't deal with motherfuckers that come over here and want to look down and partner up with the dominant society and poke fun at niggas. I ain't with all that. And I'm definitely not with people from the dominant society who will characterize us in category, like they'll take one Native black person, maybe he did something wrong or he shot up somebody or he did something fucked up, and see how black people are ghetto and all this other stuff, right? They have a right to do that. But when I say, wow, the dominant society, man, and racism and white supremacy is an institution, and they control the corporations, and they have locked and boxed us out of the wealth, and that is the reason why we don't have those things, and what we need is black empowerment. Then they get offended. Well, why is it gotta just be black? I'm just saying it should be for Native blacks, and any person a part of the dominant society who really understands how racism works, they should be the main ones. I agree. They should have their own economic base. They should have their own corporations. They should not have to go pay thousands of dollars in our education to then come back and ask us for a job. That sounds like a monopoly to me. That's what a dominant society person should be saying. They shouldn't be acting like, oh, there's no racism, I don't see color. Anytime a motherfucker say they don't see color, they're lying. And they're probably the most racist, dominant society person you'll ever meet. Especially when they get to deflecting and, oh no, I'm not racist, my best friend is black, and all this other bullshit. Those are the type of people you gotta just laugh at. Don't get upset, because a lot of times we tend to get upset, want to be mad and angry and feel like, man, that's fucked up, and how you gonna do that, and how you racist and all that stuff. Man, just leave that shit alone, man. You know what the system is. You know what it's about. You go on those corporate plantations, show no emotion. Be emotionless. And if you are, throw them off the scent. Don't invite these people to your personal lives, because they don't care. They just want to know what you got going on so they can know how to gauge and judge you. That's it. That's what you do. When I'm at the corporate, I don't discuss any of my personal business with anyone at the corporate plantation and the private information against you. That's why it's good to get on these jobs, do them, and go get the hell up out of there. Don't get friendly and cozy and get comfortable. As Neely Fuller Jr. teaches us, we are prisoners of war. Native blacks are prisoners of war. We are the victims. That's why a lady on Twitter tried to tell me, oh, keep playing the victim, thinking that was gonna hurt my feelings. I said, you're right. I am the victim. I am the victim of racism and white supremacy. And I am trying to replace racism and white supremacy and establish a system of justice. That's what you say. See, you ain't gotta be like, oh man, fuck that motherfucker. Nope, don't do that, because that's what they want. That's what they want. But when you're well-versed and you read all the look, I'm telling you, Dr. Claude Anderson ain't lying. If you just buy his library pack, man, that's basically all you kind of really need to combat the clowns on social media. That's a fact. Because out of those, the most of my talking points come from those 3 books. I can't even mention medical apartheid, slavery by another name. I can't even mention post-traumatic slave disorder by Dr. Joy DeGruy, or slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. I can't even mention the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Those books that'll go over people's heads. I don't even like to mention the ISIS papers by Dr. Frances West Welsing. That shit'll go over most people's heads. So what I do is I use Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, and I use Dr. Claude Anderson's book the majority of the time. That's what you'll always hear me quote. So I'm blue in the face. And they hate it, and it bothers. I know it gets under their skin, because then they start calling names and deflecting and talking about the Irish, because they do those things to race bait you, and fuck the Irish. No, I don't need to be disrespectful to somebody else's race. But I can tell you that I respect everybody's race, but everybody's race did not build this country. That's a fact. Take it or leave it, or let it alone. Like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says. But the facts are the facts. That's it. They did not build this country. And I think now the dominant society is not liking that a lot of people are going on Amazon and buying a lot of these books. You like, why you say that, Warren? The reason why I'm saying this shit is a lot of these books is going for the high now on Amazon. These books ain't cheap. These books ain't $5 and $10 like they used to be in 2014 when I was buying books. When I was buying books 2013, 2014, them books was going for the low. I was buying all kinds of books for the low. Now, a book going for $15, $16. I'm talking about the used copies of some shit. You know why? Because now people are awakened. That's why you cannot find the secret relationship between Jews and blacks on Amazon. That book has been banned. You probably can't find the Protocols to the Elders of Zion on Amazon, because that book is probably banned. A lot of those books are banned. I got them, and I can't wait to read them. Right now, I am reading Behold the Pale Horse. That's the book that I am reading right now. Very, very good book. Dropping game. You know what I mean? I think out here in Vegas, what I would like to start, I'm going to put this out there. I want to start a book club. I remember Nuke, shout out to Nuke. Nuke, no, I was with, we knew some sisters that had their own little book club, and I ain't hating on them. I ain't mad at them and shit. You know, but they was reading shit like, God, please don't fail me now. And, you know, they was reading books like, God, he told me he was going to love me, that type shit. And Jesus, would you send me a man? Those type of books and shit. I don't want to read that. I want to start a book club out here in Vegas where we pick one book and everybody has like a month to read it. And every week, we try to discuss a chapter or just discuss what we feel about the book when we talk about. That's what I want to do. That's the next thing. I'm going to put that on my fucking vision board. Because, man, we need to do that, man. It's about empowering. My perspective about it, too, is I think a lot of Native blacks and a lot of black people, they feel insecure because they haven't read any books. So they get, I think, flustered when they get around people. Not me, but when they get around people that are thought leaders in society and they are very well read, and you know, you get intimidated. I was like that at first, but I kept listening and I kept listening and I kept listening. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to start buying some books. About 2013, 2014, that was when I bought my first book. The first book was The Secret Relationship Between Jews and Blacks. That was a very tough book to read. Then The Burglary. Then The ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Then Dr. Claude Anderson's books. Once I read those books, oh man, then that's when it was hard to stop. You know what I mean? It was real hard to stop. And reading really is about reflex memory. And some books I forgot I read. I read this book called Two Nations. I'm gonna have to read that book again because I forgot a lot of the shit that I read in that book. You know what I'm saying? I like this book too. You always hear me talk about it. By Douglas A. Blackman. It's Slavery by Another Name. That's where you hear me get the term guilty nigga, because they'll just walk up on niggas and be like, hey, you owe me $1,000, you owe me $500. And a black person would be like, no, I don't owe you $500. And what white people would do, the dominant societies, they would go get a judge, a magistrate to rule over the claim. Because if a dominant society says you owe them something, then it must be true. Because in the words of Tariq Nasheed, I'm white and I say so. And that's a fact, because I read it in the book. And they take you before the magistrate, and the magistrate asks, well, what's going on? And then the dominant society person says, this nigga owes me $300. And then the magistrate says, do you owe him $300? And then the black person says, no, sir, I don't owe him no money. I don't even know who this man is. And then the magistrate says, guilty nigga, you owe him $300. So pay him or you got to go work on his fucking his fucking farm for 10 years. That's what they was doing. That's a fact. That's what was going on in that book. That's why when a motherfucker try to tell me the Chinamen, oh, they built the railroads. Well, go read Slavery by Another Name, and they'll tell you who was building them railroads and working in the coal mines and shit and getting sick and dying and shit. In the prisons, basically the railroad pipeline type shit. Well, we gonna take these prisoners because they're already in prison, and we gonna funnel them through to the railroad companies and shit. That's what it talks about in that book. Go read that book, Slavery by Another Name. Man, that's a cold ass book. See, there's a lot of books that I read that stuck out to me. But then again, I'll tell you, you can't quote these books to everybody on Twitter, because most people on Twitter, they don't read books. They don't care. They just want to start arguments and get people all hyped. But I don't get hyped. You know why? Because once you start educating yourself, self-educating yourself, not European education, you kind of know what the hell it is. And you know this is the Matrix, and most of these people are probably low-life individuals who practice racism, white supremacy every day. And I'm not just talking about the dominant society. I'm talking about the coons and the Sambos that placate to the dominant society and tell you to vote down the ballot type shit. Man, get the fuck out of here. But hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, man, go check out Professor Black Truth. Go check out them, man. I love those podcasts, man. I be listening to them motherfuckers all day, every day when I'm at the Court Plantation. That's all I do. That's all I do. That helps me get through the day. And if anybody hasn't went and gotten them Hidden Colors videos, go get those Hidden Colors videos so you can be introduced to the Moors and understand who they are. Facts. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, man, if you know a coon, give him black labor, white wealth. If you don't know a coon and you know a Sambo, which translates to a coon, give him black labor, white wealth as well. And we're going to have to start setting up Sambos Anonymous and Coon Rehab. We're going to have to really get those institutions established, because we got a lot of Sambos out here and Hayward Shepherds and Coons out here who will, in my perspective, fight the native blacks and try to be agent provocateurs and be a destroyer and a disruptor of native blacks movement. Hey, man, I'm Warren G. I'm out. Peace.